ginawa kong, you know, I used the women's movement, the anti-slavery movement, at marami pang iba. Hi Kylie, please welcome Kylie Versosa. So, and did I see Jake Cuenca? Hi Jake. Hi Jake.
Jake's here.
So I did Why Can't We Have a Gay President for the Ateneo de Manila University. And then I graduated with my doctoral degree. I was the commencement speaker in my own graduation. I decided to write a letter for Nanay. That's what's in the book. I'd like to thank Dandon Remoto, who introduced the Why Can't We Have a Gay President, and Kiko Benitez, who's president of the Philippine Women's University, who wrote the intro for Dearest Nanay. And the back, some of the kindest words I've gotten from Mr. Rick and Lee are found at the back of the book. So that's about it. Hi.
Right. Yes. Kasi dito boy, a lot of us are wondering, when you talk kasi, everyone listens. Can you take us through the process of making your speeches, how you conceive things? What's inside that head?
No, because I'm so connected to my core. I'm really so connected to my core. I was starting to discuss that I teach public speaking. The only way to really speak, sabi ni Angel, I can't imagine, si Angel Aquino daw, ay in front of the public talagang kinakabahan. Oh my God, parang sa husay, di ba? Parang sa husay na artista ay hindi mo maiisip na siya ay kinakabahan. But we talk about fear, we talk about anxiety in our workshops. And one of the ways to handle it is you have to be so connected to your fear. I always say in my public speaking classes, I declare the space as a no judgment zone. You know, that no fear, we define Angel as, I'm answering your question actually as to what comes to mind when I speak. Fear is anticipation that something wrong is going to happen. Repeating it is anxiety. So it's even more dangerous to be anxious. At iba-ibang klase ng takot. In the United States, there's a survey that found that there are more people afraid of public speaking than death. Yes, so iba-iba ang fear. There's what you call, ang tawag na is communication apprehension, CA, communicative apprehension. And iba-ibang sources. Una, ay may tinatawag na trait anxiety, may state anxiety. Yung trait anxiety, may mga tao na pinanganak na mahiyain. So, they're not inclined to speak before an audience. Meron naman trait anxiety. Ang ibig sabihin, ang frame of reference natin pag tayo nagsasalita, you're called to recite in front of the class because you're graded. So, every time you're called in front to speak before people, you know that you're being observed, validated, or graded. There's another one which is called anxiety. Parang you know that someone is watching you is enough to make you afraid. So knowing these things, nilalabanan ko, di ba? I mean, knowing, when you're familiar with a space of fear, you somehow get used to it. Di ba? Pag naaamoy mo yung fear ng madalas, you somehow get used to it. So, when I speak, I am free. I am free. Masyadong bukas.
And there's this thing that we call fear of being late. Kasi si Bella, she's really afraid right now because she has to go to Laguna.
I know.
So you have to cut,
I know. You have to go.
Cut short what we're talking about and say goodbye to Bella for now. Again, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Bella Padilla. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Alright, and right now, why don't we do something different? Why don't we open the floor for some questions? I know you guys have lots of questions for the King of Talk right now.
Our celebrity readers may want to ask also. No, the third factor actually of fear, parang may scrutiny factor of fear. Na parang may mga tao na alam lamang nila na pinapanood sila, natatakot na. So, that can really happen. If you have any questions, just let me know.
Raise your hand, I'll go to you. Dito pa, just to be clear, yung book nyo, it contains 2 of your biggest speeches.
Oo, 2 of the, siguro.
Mas madaming artista na kita.
Hindi ako sigurado kasi, pero ito 2 sa pinakamalapit sa aking puso. Why Can't We Have a Gay President is a social development discourse. Dearest Nanay was a commencement address I delivered during my graduation. I have another speech that I almost wrote for this book.
Okay.
I keynoted the Asia Professional Speakers Congress in Singapore. I was proud of that speech. Medyo na-late lang ng konti.
So,
Kaya nahirapan ako doon sa dalawang pinaka-importante.
how come, out of all the speeches, bakit ito yung nilagay mo sa libro mo?
Because I'm gay and I am my mother's child.
Recycle ko, love mo.
Okay, that was a statement right there from the boy. Diba? Alright, you got two speeches. Here's Nanay, close to your heart.
Right.
And how come we can't have a gay president? Or why can't we have a gay president?
Why can't we have a gay president? Because I wanted to provoke. I wanted to make people think. Why can't we have a gay president?
And as a dulo, you asked, can we have a gay president?
Yes, and common sense and history. Iceland has had a prime minister who's gay. Ilya Rupo. Belgium has had a prime minister, Joanna Sigurd-Dartir. So what I'm saying is that portion where I discussed about women used to be extensions of their fathers and their husbands. They couldn't sign contracts. They had no voices. They were invisible. And what I'm saying is, if we have Theresa May, we have Merkel, we have Tsai Ing-wen of Taiwan, Park Geun-hye, of course she's in prison now. If we have the two of South Korea, the Clintons, even if she didn't win. So in other words, what I'm saying is, ang layo na ng narating ng mga kababaihan. And I always think any advancement done by the women's movement is a push for the LGBT movement.
I want to push that question, and I'm sure you guys are itching to ask this as well. Do you have plans of, running?
Barangay captain nga, ayoko tumakbo. I am not, it's not in my belly. I don't have fire in my belly for running for elective post. Hindi talaga. I probably, if Bebot becomes president, I'll take on the DOT. No, I'm not into, I do want to spend hard-earned money to finance my campaign. That's one of the most obvious reasons. But I don't think I don't have it in my heart and mind.
Well, like 50
but I know,
says, you can.
The president, what I'm saying is both, it's a rhetorical question, but I believe in my heart that a gay president will come about in this country. One of the best mayors of Paris, Noel de la Bertrand, is gay. I'm proud of the guy. Kanina yung Alan Turing na sinabi ni Bella, he's the father of modern computer. Alam niyo, this is urban legend. Yung Apple, yung kinagat.
Okay.
The story there is Alan Turing was convicted of a crime because he fell in love with a boy. He lived with a boy. So he was tried in England and he was found guilty of the crime of homosexuality. There were two punishments. One was either life imprisonment or chemical castration. He chose the latter. One day, before it began, he was found dead, and beside his bed table, his bed, on the bed table was an apple which was partially bitten, which was cyanide-laden. Yeah. So, how many more brilliant people? And this is the man who was the lead scientist of Great Britain that decoded the German enigma. I mean, he was brilliant. Martin Luther King, mga kaibigan, in 1963, where he delivered his I Have a Dream speech. Ito I just wanted to mention. Bayard Rustin, who organized the rally, was gay.
We're learning so much things coming from Tito Boy.
Yeah.
Grabe, we will never look at our phones the same way. Parang bigat na naman, but okay, may cyanide pala tong likod na to.
No, but Apple does not admit that openly. But of course, that's an urban legend. A lot of people say that it was inspired by Alan Turing, who's acknowledged the father of a modern computer. Pagdating naman dun sa pagdating naman dun sa anti-black slavery movement. Remember, there was a time in our lives when blacks were objects. They were sold, they were bartered, they were borrowed. They were objects. And if we have black presidents today, Martin Luther King in '63 delivered the speech. 42 years later, in 2008, Barack Obama happened in America. So my argument is, if women have become presidents, and if black men and women have become leaders of their country, why can't we have a gay president?
Ayun na. And, ayan, may questions yata yung mga kapamilya natin dito. And we got my younger brother, Sir Aaron Domingo, who could facilitate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this point, we have some of the most passionate, some of the most brilliant members of the press. Our first question will come from Alexa Villano of Rappler. Go, Alexa.
Oh my God. Hi, Tito Boy.
Hi, Alexa.
Okay, Tito Boy, let's go to the speeches because obviously we all know that you love your mom, and then let's go obviously to the speeches everyone's talking about. Why can't we have a gay president? Obviously, it's not naman a secret that there's a lot of things going on. So, what do you think this speech can do to help elevate the discourse further?
I just want people to talk about it. I just want people to talk about, to entertain possibilities and probabilities this time. I just want people to, I don't want to marginalize myself. I want to go right into the center. I want to talk about gays being president. Dahil napakatagal na ng panahon na parang nasa gilid lang. I want to go right in the center of the discourse. I want to go right into the discussion of why can't we have a gay president? In the speech, for example, I enumerate the qualifications of a president, especially in this country. All you have to be is 40 years of age, 10-year residence, etc. It doesn't even say there as to whether you should be straight, woman or LGBT. It doesn't even say you have to graduate college. So if you go by the Constitution, Alexa, I want to provoke. I want to make people think. Instead of just entertaining ideas about the stereotypes that, di ba yung, uy, bakla ka, okay ka naman sa akin, huwag ka lang masyadong malandi. Parang, let's get out of it. Iwala na natin yun. Ano kung malandi? Diba? I mean, we don't tell men and women that. Okay lang, pag kasing talino ka ng kapitbahay kong bakla, bakit? Ba't may mga conditions? Well, in fact, we can be presidents. Now, of course, the obvious question is, am I entertaining ideas of running for public office? No, that's categorical, no. But I'm looking at the future. I really pray to God that one day a young boy, a young lesbian girl, will just shine and get into the political arena, run for the presidency and win.
Point well taken, Tito Boy. We have a question from Jake Cuenca.
Hey, Jake.
How far do you think Harvey Milk could have gone had he not been assassinated? I mean, Harvey Milk was into politics, he did really well in San Francisco, and then what happened happened. I mean, does he have an influence on you? Especially with...
Yeah, very difficult to answer because Harvey passed on at his prime.
Yeah.
Binaril ho si Harvey Milk well, it's a long story.
Fellow politician.
It's a long story, but iconic. He inspired a lot of people. He was not there yet in the context of national politics in the United States, but he did fight. He did fight, and yes, he inspires. He inspires us in the same way that the trans women, the queers, the LGBT people fought in 1969 at the Stonewall riots in New York. That marks officially the gay rights movement. Ang dami nakipaglaban na kasi eh. Katulad halimbawa sa Amerika, when they granted marriage equality in the United States, for example, nakakatuwa dahil meron ng marriage equality, pero nakakalungkot kung babasahin natin yung desisyon ng mga ibang justices. May mga ibang justices doon na nagsabing, If we grant marriage equality in this country, we will be granting cows and chickens and pigs in the future. But I think one of the most important lines was written by Justice Anthony Kennedy, who just passed on a couple months ago, who said that the reason why he believes that the LGBT people deserve marriage equality is because we honor it. We honor it because we want to be part of this sacrament. I don't think anybody would want to be part of this sacrament if we don't revere it. So, from Harvey Milk to Edie Windsor to all the men and women who came before us and have paved the way, we're grateful, Jake. We're really grateful.
Our next question will come from another social media influencer. We have Kate Adahar of Random Republic.
Hi, Tito Boy. We all know that you're a proud member of the LGBT community. And given all the pressures in society, what would you tell a kid or people who are yet to come out?
Coming out is a personal decision. Nobody has the right to out anyone. If a person, for whatever reason, cultural, family, if a person decides to stay in the closet, that is a right that must be respected. I wouldn't want to say, lumabas na kayo kasi mas masaya. Hindi. Ako, my personal opinion is that has to be respected. There are people who are happy in there, so let them be.
Just curious, what was your coming out story? What's your coming out?
I didn't have a coming out story. I've always been out. I don't have a coming out story. But we never talked about it. Nanay and I never talked about it. I mean, mothers and their children understand each other. I don't have a coming out story. I would have wanted a musical.
Ito, Kuya Boy, proud to be out then. Wala iba kundi ang diva na si Alwin Ignacio of Abante.
Hello, Boy. If you think the president is gay, do you think he'll be running our country better?
Better is relative. I wouldn't be able. I wouldn't say with certainty that a gay president will be better. He can be the best. He can be better. He may not. There are a lot of factors involved. All I'm trying to say is people should change the optics when they look at gay people. That a gay person who is qualified can be president. As to how he or she is going to perform remains to be seen. Ayokong ipagmayabang na the presidency is, because I think the presidency happens. It happens to one. It's not something that one covets for, di ba? I mean,
it's just like the universe, it's your destiny.
It's a destiny. Ang gusto ko lamang ay mabago yung pananaw na pag bakla ka ay punchline ka, pag bakla ka ay katatawanan ka, pag bakla ka you're supposed to be weak. You know, like women, for example, in the history of humanity, kaya yung mga storms natin ay named after women in the past, or even yung mga ships, Queen Mary, etc. Because women were supposed to be fickle. There are things that must change. There are things that must change. Yun lang yung sinasabi ko, na sana the next time people, look at gays, it should be from a different lens. It should be from a different lens, from a different optic.
Ano ba dapat ang change na unang i-address ng gay community for people to really take gay people as serious contenders for politics or the presidency?
It will start from many points, from the personal, from the political perspective, from the cultural perspective. Sabay-sabay yun. Pero I think we have to do, as members of the LGBT community, we have to do what we can. Personal, ang dami ngayon mahuhusay, who are lawyers, who are activists, who are community organizers. Ang dami. I mean, look at the way Barack Obama, for example, planned that career, as a community organizer. But it also has to come from the political perspective, because you can't just run for the president without you wetting yourself in the political arena. So, ang hirap na hirap kami when Ladlad was applying for accreditation in the COMELEC. Dahil sinabi nila, ang COMELEC, to quote the COMELEC, we promote promiscuity. This was a COMELEC ruling, which was of course reversed by the Supreme Court. And we are not marginalized because there are people like Boy Abunda and R.S. Francisco, Enrique Reyes, etc., etc. That's from the political landscape. Some things have got to be done there. Patuloy natin, culture is a way of life. It evolves. May mga pananaw tayo na dapat pinabasag. May mga pananaw na dapat baguhin. Kultura. In the 50s and in the 40s, in the 50s, a lot of men, if not a lot of gay men, had to marry because of social pressures. We know that in history. So, mabago lang sana, mabago, dahan-dahan lang. It's not easy, it's very difficult as a community, pero lahat naman pinagdaanan yun.
Okay, as my final question, since you are a leader in television, kailan sa tingin mo mabago yung TV culture in the representation of gay men and women? Kasi marami pa rin tayong mga TV shows, especially Filipino TV shows that treat gay people as parang katatawanan, as sidekicks na pinaglalaroan. Wala pa sa tingin mo mababago pa ba yun?
Dahan-dahan lang siguro. Nandito naman kami, hindi naman ako itinutulak para, I've been on television for almost 30 years and I was not required to be funny or to be a punchline. Am I an exception? No. The biggest superstar in Philippine movies now is gay. I'm advised on that. So we're making strides, big strides as a matter of fact. Pero kailangan may consciousness tayo na if women are versatile, if men are versatile, we are. Kaya in that speech I say promiscuity is not an exclusive trait of the LGBT community. There are women who are promiscuous. There are men who are promiscuous. Sabi nga ni Hillary Clinton, LGBT rights is human rights. Yun lang yung gusto kong paglaban. Look at us as human beings. Nothing more, nothing less. Salamat.
Thank you, Alwin. We have another question from another social media influencer, Albert Abilido of Chicanas Avenue Data.
Hi, good afternoon. To the other people in the panel, what are your thoughts on having a gay president?
Since I read first, I'll answer first. Well, just like as what Tito Boy has said in the book, we can have a great president. You don't have to be straight, you don't have to be a straight heterosexual male or female. You just have to be a human being with compassion and of serving, just like the qualities that Tito Boy has said. And I believe that it's really time now. It's really timely. It's very relevant that in our today's generation, we should be aware. It should be in our consciousness that we are all equal as human beings, and none of us should pull down the other.
Jasmine?
I think we might hear a lot of the same things, but to right on to what Sky said, and what Tito Boy has already spoken about, it's definitely not in what you choose to identify yourself as. It's with your capabilities, what you choose to become and contribute to the table, and what you choose to actually be. So for me, what I feel about having a gay president, I just hope that whoever that will be the one to change us for the better and to continue the talks that we are already having now, because it's just so moving and I guess inspiring, not just because it's about the LGBT, but because people are being open nowadays to change and to acceptance of being just who you are, regardless of whatever you look like, whatever you dress as, and how you identify yourself. So I am just hoping that whoever that will be good enough for our country.
Thank you, Jasmine. We'd like to welcome Beauty and Brains personified, Kylie.
Everyone, so I just want to read an excerpt from the book, which says, in the discourse, Rove enumerated some traits that make a president great, and these are clarity of vision, consistency of purpose, emotional intelligence, a healthy respect for public opinion, and a great team. Nowhere in that discourse you will find that you will have to be a straight man or a straight woman or LGBT to be a great president. You simply have to be a human being to be a great president. So
I'm a fan of Karl Rove, actually.
So with that said, it's not whether you're gay, whether you're straight, or whatever you choose to identify yourself with, but it's rather who you are as a person that makes you a good person. So it doesn't matter if you're gay or straight, but it's who you are as a human being that makes you a good president or a good person.
Yeah. Front Row, which is one of the most successful companies in the country today, is being run by R.S. Francisco and Sam Bersosa. You make us proud.
Thank you very much. Pero pressured pa din ako kasi. Ito na naman. Diba, bakit ako natatakot parating ngayon? Sinabi ni Aaron, beauty and brains person. Right? Nakaka-pressure talaga yung ganyan. No, ako actually, Tito Boy, I'm just very excited to have a gay president. Excited ako because I can just imagine how the sauna will look like.
Rainbow.
Diba? Imagine the sauna will become one big fabulous Broadway show. It's gonna be epic. Imagine the campaign pala, how fun it will be. So I'm sure it's gonna be a more fun Philippines. Whether it's gonna be better or not, I'm sure, I can't answer that, but I'm sure it's gonna be very, very fun.
Imagine RS, no? Naka-M-butterfly ko.
Oh, di ba? Di ba? Mas maganda pag president natin, trans pa.
Correct.
Di ba? Isang buong trans show ang gawin natin doon. I'd love to.
Mark.
Hi. Sa tingin ko, Tito Boy, at this time and age, hindi imposible. I think if you can deliver, and I think anyone can just run for presidency. I think sa Congress ngayon, merong trans na... So I think, yeah. So hindi imposible.
Angel.
And the glorious. Angel.
The question is, can we have a gay president? Of course we can. I mean, any country can have a gay president, and some countries already do.
Belgium and Iceland.
Yeah, so the Philippines, yun lang, it's good that we are changing our perspectives. These talks are changing are challenging our judgments and changing our perspectives. So we should have more of these things para mas maging bukas tayo sa mga ganitong ideas, because these are not impossible ideas. So yeah, we can have a gay president, and I think we should if he or she is qualified.
Very well said.
At saka, sandali lang, yung kultura kasi nagbabago, di ba? Ako, ayoko nang patumpik-tumpik pa. There are places, for example, in Japan, where women cannot still walk beside the men. But look at the political setup now in Japan. I think the governor is a woman. Am I right? The finance minister is a woman. So, may mga pagbabago. May mga pagbabago. And I think we have to be open. Remember, women just started to vote in 1920, 22. You know what I'm saying? May mga nabago na. Mahalin natin. That the gay president is like 10 years old now and it's just there, waiting in the wings. Go ahead.
Albert, Tito Boy, yung dearest nanay niyo po na speech, naparinig niyo na po ba yun sa mother mo? And what was her reaction?
May dementia ng nanay nung ginawa ko yun. The idea there was, I wanted, kasi doctoral degree doctoral graduation ko yun. So, they were expecting, you have to be invited kasi to be a commencement speaker in a graduation ceremony. And I was one of the graduates. It becomes, kumbaga sa Universidad ng Pilipinas, parang the Board of Regents decide on it. It was the Board of Trustees that decided as to who was going to speak. I wanted to do a doctoral graduation speech. Pero sabi ko, hindi, itong core ko. Kasi ang dissertation ko was maternal love as a tool for leadership. So, isinunod ko na doon. I tried writing the letter, and I thought it was good. I just read it. It was 12 minutes. So, hindi. Tuwa siguro ng nanay kung, hindi sa hindi niya mauunawaan, but, you know, pag may demensya ka medyo hindi na masyadong nakaka-appreciate ng moment.
And Tito Boy, last, why did you title the book NANAY'S GAY BOY?
Because I am. And that's really essential. If you were to ask me how I would describe myself, that's what I'm going to say. I am NANAY'S GAY BOY.
Thank you.
Thank you, Albert. We are down to our last two questions. We have a question from Neri Almo of GMA News.
Hi, Lilis lang po sa politics. You mentioned kanina sa interview different kinds of anxiety. And I want to ask the celebrities here if they have experienced any of those anxieties you mentioned. I think especially public scrutiny. And for Tito Boy, as a talent manager, what will you advise, especially those young celebrities who will experience or are now experiencing anxiety na nasa showbiz?
Sky?
Well, of course, just starting, and of course, I always get nervous, whether in front of the camera or in front of other people. But trying to get over it is based on the teachings of the great Boy Abunda. Just stay true in your core, stay true on, believe on yourself, believe in your own truth, and it will come smoothly. Just really try to calm down, and yun, if you need to practice, rehearse, practice. Tapos pag when you are already in that moment, let go. That's what I heard from TV.
Jasmine?
I've definitely had my fair share of anxiety, and it's across a lot of different things, not just because of our industry, but rather just, you know, I guess being a 24-year-old going through like, oh, what am I gonna do next? Is this right? Is this the good path for me? And it's all of that, plus having to deal with, of course, doing all of that in front of everyone, and being someone else's younger sister. So it's a lot to take in, but knowing yourself and knowing what you want and being confident in that, knowing the core of yourself, your truth. So when you speak, you carry yourself regardless of what you hear, what people say, what people tell you to do. Knowing your truth will guide you. And if you don't know, don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to seek guidance, or at least just comfort in people who may just let you be you, wallow in your sadness or anxiety, and get back up on your feet. And I think that's essential in our lives. Did I round that up nicely?
Angel?
As I've told Tito Boy kanina and a few others who were in the room with me, malaki ang stage fright ko. Pinanganak akong may stage fright kambal ko ang stage fright. So, I don't know, I got into hosting pagka nag-host ako ng mga events. Oh my God, hindi nyo lang alam. Pero parang gusto ko na lang mag-crawl dun sa stage. Anyway, so that's me. And I always battle with it every time. It's true, you tell yourself, calm down, don't try to look at the people, just remember yourself, remember your core, blah blah, all these things, you know. And yeah, they do help, but you just really have to be kinder to yourself. Forgive yourself if you make a mistake. Let it go. Then try to do better the next time. Ganun na lang. Yeah, so it really just takes you to allow yourself to move on. So yun lang. That's what. And it's hard. It's hard to just let it go. Let go of your mistakes. People Kasi iisipin mo, naku, people are mahirap makalimutan ng mga tao, but people do forget. So, you just tell yourself that makakalimutan din yun yan, makakalimutan mo din yan, and just strive to be better next time.
Mark? Nininervyos ka, Mark?
Oh yes, Tito Boy.
Talaga?
Alam mo, 15th year ko na ngayong taon na to, Tito Boy, and naging partner ko na rin yung stage ko sa business na to. And siguro natutunan ko na kung paano sakyan yung kaba na yun. I always get anxious before the stage.
Do you bring that fear on stage? That energy on stage?
Alam mo, minsan nakakatulong, Tito Boy eh. Especially when I'm singing. Kasi parang feeling ko nakakabot ko minsan yung mga notes pag may kaba. So, nahanapan ko siya ng way na magamit. And at the same time, before ako nung sumali ako ng competition, ng Star for a Night, na singing contest, yung mama ko, nandito Tito Boy, nandito yung mama ko.
Hello!
Tinuro niya sa akin, very psychological lang Tito Boy, yung maglagay ng coins sa socks. Para lang matanggal yung anxiety.
Coins sa socks?
Coins sa socks, Tito Boy, kasi di ba malamig yung coins? So nilalagay, ang dami ko nilagay na coins ng competition, ganyan. So psychologically, parang yung attention, yung kaba ko, instead na dun yung attention ko sa kaba, nalalagay dun sa coins for some reason. Pero I'm sure ano lang yan, parang pang ano lang.
No, but that may just work.
And I think it helped, yeah. It helped.
I should
try it. Kasi may something sa coins eh. Na parang nadidistract ka.
Okay, alright. Artista, you know, it's very funny and humbling to actually hear these stories from like international
great performers,
One of my idols in theater for Here Lies Love. In fact, the producer is here also, Jet Tolentino. Hi, Jet, the Tony Award winner and Grammy winner. And produced Here Lies Love, and also M. Butterfly is here to support. And also to hear from Angel Aquino, who's been modeling and doing so many things, not just here in the Philippines, but you know, and for me to hear them na kinakabahan pa sila up to now and all. So na-realize ko, hindi lang pala ako. Kasi even ako up to now, kinakabahan din talaga ako especially when I just did a play a few months ago, and like I know that play because I've been doing that ever since 1990, and I've done more than 300 shows before. And akala ko talaga na pag gagawin ko siya ngayon, kaya ko na. But then, you know, come opening night, you'd see me talaga tremble, and I didn't know it.
How do you handle that?
Well, at that time, wala namang barya sa paa ko. Pero ngayon, alam ko na, at least may alkansya ako, pwede ko ilagay wala namang barya sa paa ko. So, mas maraming coins, mas mawawalay ka ba? So, tatlo lang.
Tatlo lang, Mami. Okay.
Mami, sa kaliwa, sa kanan. Kahit saan. Sige, kasi para alam natin, para surefire, di ba? So, you know, it's still normal yung ganyan. Ako, I always tell people pag kinakabahan, or especially in front row, pagka medyo, will I excel in front row, o okay ba ako, magbabago ko buhay ko. When people ask me that, I always tell them, you know, just feel your gut, don't overthink things. Because overthinking might lead to anxiety. So just whatever your gut says, whatever your gut feel is, just go do it. Kung sinabi sa'yo na ito gawin mo, ito, just do it. And if you fail on that or in that endeavor, learn from that. Learn from that. Stand up and just learn from that.
I think anxiety is more prevalent in society today. It's more being spoken about, especially by the younger generations and the kids. You know, we talk about mental health and we talk about depression and suicide. That all comes from anxiety. And I'm glad that more people are speaking up about it now. But anxiety is something that it's normal. Everyone goes through it. Maybe some of us admit it to ourselves more than others. Maybe some of us are more aware than others. But it's a normal part of our lives, and I think as Jasmine and Angel said, it's about one, knowing yourself, what's good for you, and Angel said it's about coping with it. And for me, I think it's about equipping yourself with the right methods and ways of how you can overcome your anxiety, whether that's through calming yourself down or meditation or going to a professional. So there are many ways how to overcome your anxiety, but I think it's a normal thing in your life, and I think for me it's important to equip yourself with the things that you think that you know yourself will help you get through your anxiety. you.
Yeah, yung from the academic point of view lang. Kasi kanina I started to talk about the state anxiety, trait anxiety, scrutiny fear. Technical terms kasi yan eh. Yung state, yun nga, yung naalala mo na pag pinapupunta ka sa harap ng klase, it was always, you know, you are graded. When you say trait anxiety, mahihayin ka eh. But the scrutiny fear naman is, you know, being afraid that people are watching you. May mga techniques. I've spoken to some of the biggest performers. Pareho yan physical and mental eh. There are people who jog, nagpo-push up, bago meron mga my breathing exercises, the many exercises are done. Meron naman yung sa amin, from the academic point of view, ang tawag namin yan is cognitive restructuring. Meaning, simple lamang yun, change your mindset. It's cognitive restructuring. I know that actors like Jake is very familiar with this, with Ivana. Meron silang tinatawag na, you know, what is your overall objective, for example, for a particular scene, no? In public speaking, meron ka rin ganun. Meron din kaming, I want to make you fall in love, I want to make you listen. There's an overarching intention. There's an overarching intention when you come into the stage. Pero siguro malaking tulong nga ang coins. Pero may mga tao naman who have learned to bring their fear, that energy of anxiety and fear, to the stage. I was doing an interview with someone, may nagsabi sa akin na dinadala daw niya talaga sa stage. That's wonderful. Okay.
Thank you, Ners. Kuya Boy, we have a question from a 7-year-old kid. We have Jamie Paliera.
Hello.
Hello, Jamie.
Did you study hard when you were young?
In faraway Borongan, Eastern Samar, I don't remember studying art except the art classes inside the classroom, which meant I had to draw mountains and I loved flowers. Mga bata ngayon, ha? You're welcome.
Thank you, Jamie. We are down to our last question. Okay, sir.
Hello, Tito Boy. May kasabihan tayong never say never or wag magsasabi ng tapos. I think the question about having a gay president is not a debate anymore. And then in your book, you have enumerated the qualities that would make a good president. I thought you're writing about yourself. But you're denying that you will never go into politics or into a presidency. Pero baka naman there is one factor or one incident or one event that will eventually convince you to run for president.
Okay, let me answer that by saying the enumerated factors about what makes for a good president is not mine, it's Karl Rove. But you're right, I am inclined to agreeing to Karl Rove. I listen to his words. I think he's one of the most brilliant political strategists in the world. He worked on George W. Bush, and I'm a fan of Karl Rove. I was not describing myself, but I agreed to his principles. Number two, I'm a great believer that the presidency is destined. It's really destined. What will be, wala talaga. You know, my sister now is running for Congress. She was mayor for 3 terms, and she was a vice mayor. Nanay was in politics. Tatay was in politics. Ako lang talagang hindi. I am made for talk shows. Hindi naman ako shy, and at this stage in my life, I'm not the type who would be shy to say if I have intentions. Hindi eh.
Even if it means that it will be the tipping point for, well, you said you're not an advocate or an activist, but if it would be the tipping point for substantial change or direction in what we're seeing right now.
Yes.
Even on the level of discrimination of gay.
Yeah, but
wouldn't that convince you?
I can do it in many other ways. Hindi lang hindi ako nagpapakipot. I think I've been in the public sphere for a long time. People know that, people know that I say what I want. Tipping point, we'll get there. But I'm sure I will support whoever decides. I've supported Danton Remotos, is Danton here? His first try. I will support LGBT candidates. I will be in that community that will raise eventually senators and presidents in the future. But wala talaga the first question that I was asked when I presented this in a school was, do you want to be the first gay president? I said no. I just want to provoke. There will be people who will be better off than I am. Hindi pakipot yan. Yung tipping point naman, you will have to see that, you'll have to be confronted with it. And one of us can be president by force of political circumstance, but that's something that's not really planned. Kahit sa America look at the way Hillary planned her life for the presidency, how people prepared for the presidency. If it's not meant, it doesn't happen. Yun ang aking pananaw.
We will entertain some of the questions after